Very good morning. So today we'll be starting with another topic. I'm Dr. Janakji Patel. I'll be talking on migraine, a very useful topic and you will see very frequently in your everyday practice. So migraine, these are some of the photographs which will tell you how severe the pain is and the person who suffers describes you in a many different ways. So migraine is a common primary headache which is very common, but it is under recognized, under diagnosed, and because it is not diagnosed, it is under treated. So migraine diagnosis is very important. These are few of the famous photographs which are showing you the characteristics of a migraine headache, different description by different persons. We'll be discussing under different heading: definition, etiology, pathophysiology, clinical features, investigations, differential diagnosis, treatment and complications. Now, diagnostic criteria for migraine: it is recurrent, meaning more than 5 attacks of headache, each lasting for 4 to 72 hours, whether treated, untreated, or unsuccessfully treated. At least 2 of the following characteristics: unilateral location, pulsating quality or a throbbing pain, moderate to severe variety of intensity, aggravated by routine physical activity, and headache is associated with at least one of the following symptoms, that is nausea with or without vomiting, photophobia and phonophobia. These are the classical criteria for migraine. Severity will depend upon the person to person. It can be mild, it can be moderate, it can be severe, and when it lasts for more than 72 hours, we usually use the word status migrainosus. Diagnosis by treatment should not be utilized because when you use triptans are best effective only in 3/4 of the attacks. And sometimes in a person with a tension type headache, we call TTH, can respond partially to triptan. So diagnosis can be wrong or can be misleading. So don't use this as a diagnosis for treatment. There are two classical variety of migraine. We call it a migraine without aura, or we call MO, or we call common migraine. What we have given a description before, that is 5 attacks should fulfill criteria B to D. That is, B is headache lasting for 4 to 72 hours, untreated or unsuccessfully treated. C, headache has at least 2 of the following characteristics: unilateral, pulsating quality, moderate to severe intensity, and aggravated by or causing avoidance of routine physical activity like walking, climbing staircase, etc. And D, that is during headache, at least one of the following must be present, that is nausea and or vomiting, and another is photophobia and phonophobia. And most important part, E, it is not attributed to any other disorders. Then we label that as migraine without aura. There is another variety we call as a typical aura with migraine, or we call MA, or we call classical migraine, where A, at least 2 attacks fulfilling criteria B to D. B is aura. Aura consists of at least one of the following, but no motor weakness. It is fully reversible visual symptoms, including flickering of light, spotlights, lines, negative features like loss of visions, or fully reversible sensory symptoms, including positive features like tingling numbness and or negative symptoms like numbness, fully reversible dysphasic speech disturbances. C, homonymous visual symptoms and unilateral sensory symptoms, or one aura symptoms gradually over more than 5 minutes, and or different aura symptoms occurring in succession over more than 5 minutes. Each symptoms last for 5 minutes but never more than 60 minutes. This is the criteria for what we call as an aura. And headache should fulfill criteria B to D as we do it in a what we call as a migraine without aura. And D is not attributed to any other disorders. So these are the two varieties we call as a classical migraine and common migraine. Common migraine is most common, that's why it is called as a common, while classical migraine percentage is relatively less. Classification wise, we classify according to two classical groups, that is we call common migraine and classical migraine, or we call MO and MA, that is migraine without aura and migraine with aura. Then there is what we call as a complicated migraine, which is secondary complication because of migraine like chronic headache, status migrainosus, etc. In childhood, you can get a migraine, and there are different types of childhood migraines: retinal migraine, basilar migraine, abdominal migraine, hemiplegic migraine. And when you are not sure and the criteria does not fit well, we call probable migraine or suspected migraine. So classification is usually migraine without aura, migraine with aura, then childhood migraine, retinal migraine, complicated migraine or complication of migraine, and probable migraine. When it is with aura, there are a lot of other words which are utilized. We don't have to get confused. That is typical aura with migraine headache, typical aura with non-migraine headache, typical aura without headache, familial hemiplegic migraine, short form it is called FHM, sporadic hemiplegic migraine, basilar type migraine, etc. These are the different terminology which are being utilized. We don't have to confuse. Base is migraine with aura, migraine without aura. And in a childhood, cyclical vomiting, abdominal migraine, and benign paroxysmal vertigo of childhood. These are the three classical variety in a childhood. In a complication of a migraine, chronic migraine, status migrainosus, persistent aura without infarction, and migraine triggered seizures. These are the four classical variety in a complication of migraines. In a probable migraine, there is probable migraine without aura, probable migraine with aura, and probable chronic migraine. This is another terminology which is being utilized in a migraine. We'll use only three terminology: migraine without aura, that is common migraine; migraine with aura, that is classic migraine; and complicated migraine, that is hemiplegic migraine, confusional migraine, ophthalmoplegic migraine, basilar migraine, etc. These are other terms which are being utilized. We call as a migraine variant, that is menstrual migraine, cyclical vomiting syndrome, abdominal migraine, migrainosus vertigo or benign paroxysmal vertigo of childhood, status migrainosus, chronic migraine, hemiplegic migraine or familial hemiplegic migraine, or sporadic hemiplegic migraine, basilar migraine, ophthalmoplegic migraine, retinal migraine, transient migrainosus accompaniment, etc. These are all the different terminology, and they are put into a migraine variants. When you want to differentiate common migraine, classical migraine, basilar, and familial, this is a chart which you can go through at leisure, and that will show you the difference between all these four variety. We'll be talking mainly of common migraine and classical migraine, and we'll be giving you a little difference between other varieties. So when a person gets involvement of the brainstem, there are some diagnostic criteria that if the person has got a migrainous attack and there is an associated symptom like dysarthria, vertigo, tinnitus, diplopia, ataxia, hyperacusis, and decreased level of consciousness, it fits with brainstem migraine. And person will have a aura of visual, sensory, speech disturbances, language symptom disturbances, etc. And person will not have motor or retinal symptoms. This is typical of a brainstem migraine. Then in a case of a basilar migraine, the person will have a criteria fulfilling from B to D, and plus there will be an aura which will be showing you dysarthria, vertigo, tinnitus, hyperacusis, diplopia, visual symptoms, ataxia, decreased level of consciousness, and bilateral paresthesia. These are the common symptoms which may be present in case of a basilar type of migraine, which involves basilar artery. Retinal migraine, also called as ocular migraine, where the person might complain of a sudden loss of vision, perception of a bright light, and which may be recovered within 1 hour of migrainous headache. There is a reversible neurological symptoms. Permanent visual loss may occur in some of the people, and visual symptom may occur without headache. This is retinal migraine, where there is an involvement of retinal artery. Migrainous vertigo. This is a benign paroxysmal vertigo in a childhood. Percentage is 70 to 9%, where the person will complain of recurrent episode of vestibular symptom, and one of the characteristic symptoms of a migraine headache, that is migraine symptoms with 2 or more attacks of vertigo, and before vertigo, before migraine gets precipitated, vertigo will be present almost in 50% of the people, and this is classical called migrainosus vertigo. Childhood periodic syndromes, we have already discussed cyclical vomiting, abdominal migraine, and benign paroxysmal vertigo. We have shown you that. Abdominal migraine, usually in a children, it is idiopathic recurrent disorder seen in mainly in children, and person will complain of a midline abdominal pain with nausea, vomiting. While hemiplegic migraine is quite common in family, and person can present as a hemiplegic migraine or even what we call as familial variety or sporadic varieties. Migraine which is associated with a menstrual period, it is called menstrually associated migraine or MAM, which is occurring during a phase of a menstrual cycle. 60 to 70% of female migraine are having menstrual associated migraine, and true menstrual migraine, that is TMM, is exclusively with menses only, and which is accounting for only 7 to 10%, while the female who gets a migraine headache, menstrual period may precipitate and it will account for 60 to 70% of the people. Complicated migraine, chronic migraine, status migrainosus with persistent aura, migrainosus infarct, and with triggered seizures. These are all the different varieties of complicated migraines. This is chronic migraine. You can go through at leisures. That is status migrainosus, means when the migraine attack remains for more than 72 hours, it is in favor of status migrainosus. And in a case of a suspected migraine, this is a flow chart which you can go at leisure, have a pause and go through it. It will tell you that in a suspected migraine, how you should approach to differentiate from a chronic migraine, classical migraine, and migraine with aura and without aura. Usually you can see in this chart, migraine without aura is accounting for 70%, and migraine with aura is accounting for only 25%, and both together is accounting for 95% of the cases. And migraine variants or complicated migraine is accounting for only 5% of the people. Hence, migraine without aura is the most common variety of presentation. As far as etiology is concerned, the etiology most common is genetic, and second common is trigger factors. So genetic factor is always present, and there is a trigger factors. Among genetic factors, it is a single gene response or a polygenetic or multiple trigger factors. So trigger factors can be among foods, disturbed sleeps like insomnia, or person has got excessive sleep disturbances, hormonal change particularly during menstrual period. Certain drugs can trigger off olfactory stimulus, that is we call as a strong smell, bad smell. Auditory stimulus we call as a phonophobia, visual stimulus photophobia, physical exertion very frequently it is quite common. Even change in the weather can stimulate. Hunger, particularly prolonged fasting, etc., can also stimulate, and certain psychological factors. You can see a big list. Food, among food, alcohol, cheese, excessive of coffee, chocolates, tea, coffee, etc. Beverages, environmental loud noise, that is phonophobia, smell, flashing light, that is photophobia, weather change. In physiological, sleep disturbances, skip meals, stress, menstrual period, excessive fatigue after exercise, etc. accounts for uh, a good amount of trigger factors. These are all the trigger factors which have been shown. These are in a daily cycles. We call as a breakfast, menses, late hours, oversleeping, etc. And environmental weather, diet, smoking, some medication, bright lights, altitude, alcohol beverages, and among mental, anger, anxiety, depression, fear, etc. can also trigger off. These are all the other photographs showing you a change in the environment, smoking, even a hair accessory like clips, caffeine, exercise, strong smell, particular perfumes, spray, etc. Poor posture, cold cuts, then red wine, skipping meals, chase, all this. If we go through the pathophysiology, there are certain pathophysiology which are being postulated. Vascular theory, cortical spreading depression theory, neurovascular hypothesis, serotonergic abnormalities hypothesis, and integrated hypothesis. These are all the different hypotheses. More number of hypotheses, nothing is in favor. But vascular theory and neurovascular theory is in favor. So vascular theory, neurogenic theory, and neurogenic inflammation theory is accounting for a pathogenesis of migraine. Aura results from an intracranial vasoconstriction and followed by a vasodilatation which produces a headache, which is fulfilling the symptoms of migraine, and that is fulfilled by a vascular theory. While neurogenic theory, which says the cortical spread of a depression wave, electrical activity followed by a vascular phenomena, which also fulfill partially the all the different stages of migraine headache. While triggered by trigeminal sensory system, mediated by there is release of 5-hydroxytryptamine, neurokinin, substance P, calcitonin, etc., which triggers off and makes the trigeminal nerve sensitive and creates a pain, and that also holds true because the drug which is acting on a 5-hydroxytryptamine relieves the headache. So this is a diagram which is showing you pre-symptomatic hyperexcitability which increases the brainstem's response to the trigger. The trigger will release a neurotransmitter substance like 5-hydroxytryptamine, norepinephrine, dopamine, GABA, glutamate, nitric oxides, etc., substance P, all these neurotransmitter substance which will dilate the meningeal blood vessels, which will produce throbbing headache, which will activate the area which will produce nausea, vomiting. There is an activation of the hypothalamus which becomes hypersensitive, and there is an activation of the cortex and thalamus which produces a headache, and there is an activation of the cervical trigeminal system which will produce muscle spasm. These are all the different mechanisms which shows you how the headache results in a case of a classical migraine, or we call it a common migraine. And this is a combined picture showing you that how the person gets disturbances of a cortical and a brainstem excitability because of a triggering factors like drugs, environment, genetic factors, metabolic factors, hormones, etc. And that gives rise to cortical wave which will stimulate blood-brain barrier system and increases the permeability, and there will be increase in the intracranial pressure, and that will be also responsible for producing aura symptoms. And because of the cortical wave, activation of the pain receptors, and that pain receptors activation releases a certain material like nitric oxide, ANP, and other chemical mediators. Vascular stimulation and metabolic uncoupling, release of vasoactive peptides which will have a neurogenic inflammation, vasodilatation, and because of that vasodilatation you will have a pain. And also disturbances of cortical and brainstem activity excitability will produce brainstem activation which will trigger the trigeminal nucleus, and that nucleus will increase the sensory sensitivity which will be sensitive to light stimulus, that is photophobia, phonophobia. There will be cutaneous allodynia, and person will also have a nausea, vomiting, and vertigo. Also, activation of the pain receptor. Activation of the pain receptor will also make brainstem active, and that will trigger off that particular system. This is a complex diagram showing you how exactly the migraine headache is precipitated. In short form, we call initiated by arterial spasm, which will result into ischemia. There will be dilatation, excessive dilatation producing a headache, change in the blood-brain barrier system fluid leakage, inflammation, and that inflammation will produce pain. And this is explaining your vascular theory. This is the neurovascular theory, and this is a complicated diagram which shows you that because of a depression wave which starts and which stimulates the thalamus and brainstem, which makes them sensitive. So photophobia, phonophobia will stimulate, which will also activate the trigeminal nucleus and makes pain sensitive. So there is a pain transmission, and trigeminal nerve, trigeminal nucleus, which becomes sensitive, which is very sensitive to neuropeptides release, and that gives rise to pain. And because of that brainstem activation, the meningeal blood vessels undergoes dilatation. Previously, initially vasoconstriction followed by vasodilatation because of the different substances released in brainstem, and this produces persistent headache. There is a unifying theory where the stress will release serotonin, which will produce constriction followed by a vasodilatation, and then there is a release of substance P, which will irritation of the nerves and blood vessels and will give rise to headache. So there is a vascular theory, serotonin theory, and there are other theory. Out of this, the neurovascular process is best explained. This is a cutaneous allodynia theory, very complicated. You can go through at leisures, have a pause and go through it. Among clinical features, we have already told you before that migraine can be classified as migraine without aura, or we call as a common migraine, which is the most common variety, which is accounting for nearly 70% of the cases, while migraine with aura is accounting for only 25% of the cases, which is accounting for classical migraine, which we call as a MA, and migraine without aura is called MO. Person can have sometimes pure visual aura, and 99% will have a visual aura, 31% will have a other sensory aura. Complicated migraine accounts for only 5%. Complicated childhood, all other varieties of migraine will be accounting for only 5%. There are different ways of which you can go for migraine diagnosis. This is called suspect. S for sensitivity, that is photophobia, phonophobia. U for unilateral or bilateral. S for stomach uneasiness, that is nausea, vomiting. P for pulsatile headache or a throbbing headache. E for episodic headache or we call recurrent headache. C for connected with trigger factors or precipitated by trigger factors. You can utilize this, or you can utilize what is called sultans. S for severe, U for uni, L for lateral, T for throbbing, and A for activity worsening, means activated by exercise, and N for nausea, vomiting, and S for light and sound sensitivity, we call photophobia and phonophobia. Two criteria should be there from column A and one criteria from column B. This is the way they utilize sultan. Another way is pounding. P for pulsatile, O for 1 day, U for unilateral, N for nausea, and D for disturbing. Whichever you utilize, the best way is those classical diagnostic criteria A, B, C, D, E. There are 4 stages of migraine. We call prodrome, stage of aura, stage of headache, and stage of prodrome. Prodrome stage is usually before the person starts getting aura. It is lasting for 1 or 2 days. Aura stage may last for maximum 60 minutes. Headache stage will last for 4 hours to 72 hours. And recovery stage will be lasting for 1 to 2 days. And after the headache, one episode gets over, there is usually a migraine interval where person is absolutely asymptomatic. This is a diagram which shows you the prodrome stage, aura stage, headache phase, and postdrome. and what are the symptoms, what are the timings, etc. You can go through. We are having another slide which we are explaining. 60% of the time person will have a prodrome stage, 30% of the people will have a aura, almost 100% of all people will have a headache, and 70% of the people will have a postdrome. Indirectly, aura is present only in 30% of the people, while headache is present almost in 100% of the people. And this is the classical features of migraine. We'll be discussing in detail in further slides. So prodrome stage. Prodrome stage is characterized by it is lasting for 24 hours or more. It is usually observed in 60 to 70% of the people with a migrainous headache. Person will have a dizziness, fatigue, have disturbances in memory, euphoria. Person will have a disturbances because of light and noise sensitivity, that is photophobia, phonophobia. Person will have a craving for food. Person might have a depression or can have even hypomania. These of the symptoms are present 1 or 2 days before the person gets the aura stage. During the stage of aura, the person can have a lot of symptoms like transient aphasia, photophobia, thick speed, tremors, unilateral numbness, tinginess, vertigo, pallor, etc. Many symptoms. Out of these, the most common symptoms are visual disturbances, loss of vision, which is we call it negative symptoms, and among the positive symptoms, bright lights, dark spots, flickering lights, etc. And this aura usually lasts less than 1 hour and does not last longer. Headache and aura last for few minutes to maximum hours, and it is reported in 15 to 20% of the migraine patients. Sensory symptoms in aura is very less, like numbness, weakness, tinglings, etc. And sometimes person can get even hallucinations. These are the different diagrams showing you how the person describe a visual aura. Here you can see that person is having almost, you can see half of the field is gone, and here you can have a little scotoma type. Here person while reading will have a loss of vision in certain areas because of a bright light. You can see here this is the normal vision, and this is the vision what a person gets. He will get a scintillating lights, edges, etc. And this is called metamorphosia. When the person is driving or is moving on a cycle, he sees the wave-like things. These are the different types of migrainous aura which you can get. When you see a clock, here partial clock is visualized with a bright spots. Here you can see there's a different types of visual aura. These are called scintillating scotomas. Then person can have a central scotoma where in a center part he will have a bright spot. Multiple spotty scotomas in a multiple area. Half of the field visual loss will be there because of the bright light. When the person enters into the stage of headache, we have already described the two classical characteristics, that person without an aura will have a headache lasting for 4 to 72 hours. He will have unilateral headache, pulsating headache, moderate to severe variety, and aggravated by exercise. And will have associated symptoms like nausea, vomiting, photophobia or phonophobia. He should have at least two of these criteria and one of these criteria. And there should be no evidence of organic disease. In migraine with aura, all these characteristics has to be present with at least three of the following: one or more fully reversible aura symptoms, gradually developing aura symptoms, no one aura is lasting for more than 1 hour, and headache shortly follows after a aura. This is a typical what we call as a classical migraine or migraine with aura, and it is only accounting for 20% of the cases. In a post-drome stage or a resolution stage, person will have a dizziness, fatigue, again loss of memory, euphoria. Person can have a disturbances because of light, etc. That is photophobia, phonophobia, food craving, depression, hypomania. All these which were also seen in a prodrome stage, and that can last for few hours to up to 2 days. Investigations are mainly necessary if you want to rule out from secondary. If a good history is taken, good examination is done, and CNS examination is done, almost you can confirm the diagnosis of migraine. We have already done this in a previous lecture, so you can go through this if you want to rule out secondary headache. In a differential diagnosis, you have to differentiate mainly migraine from tension headache and cluster headache. We'll be going through the successive slide. These are the slides which shows you that family history, there will be strong family history in case of a migraine and tension headache, while in a cluster headache, there is no family history available. As far as migraine is concerned, it is more common in female. Tension headache is also more common in female, while cluster headache is more common in male. Onset is variable in migraine and it is usually recurrent, while tension headache is usually under stress, while cluster headache is during sleep. Location wise, migraine is usually unilateral, occasionally bilateral. Tension headache is always bilateral and it is in the band form around the head, while cluster headache is always unilateral and periorbital. Frequency and duration wise, migraine is 2 to 72 hours, one attack or maximum 8 attacks per month, while tension headache 30 to 70 minutes up to 7 days, 3 to 4 attacks in a week, such attacks 1 to 2 attacks in a year, while cluster headache can be excruciating, sharp, steady, and in a day sometimes you can get a multiple headaches, multiple attacks. Associated symptoms like visual aura, phonophobia, photophobia, pallor, nausea, vomiting is very common with migraine. You can have a mild photophobia, mild phonophobia, and anorexia in tension headache, while sweating, facial flushing, nasal congestion, ptosis, lacrimation, conjunctival injection, and pupillary changes are characteristic of a cluster headache, and it is on the affected side only, unilateral. Physical activity will aggravate the attack in case of a migraine. Physical activity has got no effect in case of a tension headache, and in a cluster headache, person is agitated, restless during the episode, and usually there is no relation with the physical activity. As far as the age of onset is concerned, migraine is between 25 to 55 years of age. Tension headache is between 30 to 50, while cluster headache is in a little younger age, that is 20 to 40. Location already we have discussed, duration we have discussed, severity we have discussed, type of headache we have discussed, pattern we have already discussed, associated symptom we have already discussed. When you make the diagnosis and now when you decide regarding the management, it is preemptive treatment, acute treatment, and preventive treatment. So migraine triggers should be limited so you can decrease the episodes. During acute episode, to decrease the pain and prevent the progression, and preventive treatment to decrease the migraine frequency in successive episodes. The common treatment recommended is non-pharmacological approach like alteration in a lifestyle pattern, regular sleeps, regular meal, adequate fluid intake, exercise, stress reduction exercise, avoidance of previously recognized triggers. The person comes to know what are the triggers, he should avoid that, etc. Among the pharmacological treatment, we'll be discussing in a successive slide. These are some of the things which you can avoid. That is, we call as a lifestyle changes according to the food, sleep, exercise, and stress management. These are the different methods which are being utilized. You can go through at leisure time. So, as far as pharmacotherapy is concerned, there is two classifying classes. One is during acute episode and one is during prophylaxis. During acute episode, there is we call as a non-specific treatment, like you use non-steroidal and anti-inflammatory drugs, or we call analgesics and antiemetics, which just relieves the symptoms but does not stop the migrainous attack. Specific treatment is like triptan or dihydroergotamine. Dihydroergotamine is nowadays almost outdated. Triptan is the specific treatment. Once the acute episode is over, then prophylactic treatment is given to prevent the second episodes and successive episodes. To prevent successive episodes. Common drugs which are utilized are beta blocker, CCB, calcium channel blocker, tricyclic antidepressant, and anticonvulsants. So when you use during acute episode, we call as an abortive treatment. When the person is having a recurrent episodes, more than 2 attacks in a month, you should start abortive treatment during the episodes. There is a contraindication to acute treatment if there is a failure of acute treatment. Use abortive medication if for minimum 2 weeks. Presence of uncommon migraine conditions like hemiplegic migraine, migraine with prolonged aura, migraine induced hemiplegia, etc., or even seizures or complicated migraines. Other factors like adverse events with acute therapy, patient is preferred to utilize what we call as a preventive treatment, etc. That is what is called as a prophylactic treatment. Abortive treatment tends to work better if they are taken in early in the attacks, during acute attacks. Indicated for the person who experienced the occasional migraine. While prophylactic treatment is given for prevention of the successive episodes. In abortive, we have already told you that non-specific treatment like NSAID, analgesics, antiemetics, etc. While specific treatment is triptans, which can be given oral, subcutaneous, nasal. Usually, subcutaneous and nasals are in injectable forms. Subcutaneous is in an injectable form, while nasal is in the form of a nasal spray, which is commonly utilized during acute episode or in a status migrainosus. Ergot alkaloids and their derivatives are usually avoided. They are very rarely utilized. The common triptan which is utilized is sumatriptan. While prophylaxis, commonly it is propranolol. Tricyclic antidepressant is amitriptyline or nortriptyline. And anticonvulsants is divalproate sodium, disodium valproate. And calcium channel blocker is verapamil. By and large, out of this, the propranolol is the most common, which is being most commonly utilized, and it is relatively safe. These were the other treatment which were being utilized before all this abortive treatment were identified. They used to drill a hole in a skull, bloodletting, placing of hot iron on the head, and spinning the patient in a centrifuge machine, etc. And you can see a funny diagram showing you what is put on the head. And here, sometimes, this is a cartoon which shows you, but this is not the treatment for migraine. And this was another treatment which is also shown in a cartoon form, which was utilized previously for treatment of a migraine. During menstrual migraine, you can use oral contraceptive pills, estrogen supplements, which can abort attack of migraine. There are other treatments which are being utilized, that is transcranial magnetic stimulators, Botox injections. There is another instruments which can be helpful, we call Carena, which is for stimulation in a cranial cavity by magnet. There is another which is stimulating the forehead, which is called Kefali. This is another material which can be utilized. It is transcutaneous electric nerve stimulator to treat the headache. And in a pipeline, you know that there is no 100% clear-cut treatment. Hence, they are also searching for vaccines, and they are searching for newer drugs which can give you a relief for a longer period. As far as complication is concerned, we already told you that it can be a migraine person can go into a chronic migraine, status migrainosus, and person can have a persistent aura without infarction and migraine triggered seizures. These are the common. And this is a big list where migraine can be associated with multiple comorbid conditions like psychiatric disorders, irritable bowel syndromes, GI tract disorders, asthma, pulmonary disorder, cardiovascular disorders like hypertension, Raynaud's disease, Raynaud's phenomena, mitral valve prolapse, neurological conditions like stroke, epilepsy, tremors, And as far as the sleep disorder is concerned, insomnia, snoring, all these can be comorbidities associated with migraines. Hence, migraine is a complicated condition. If diagnosed early, treated properly, you can help the person. Here I end my lecture. I hope this will be helpful to you.